I've tried every single mainstream diet there is. Your vegan diet, vegetarian, carnivore, keto, animal-based, and a lot more, trust me. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly which one made me feel the healthiest, which one made me lose weight and get leaner when I wanted to, which one made me gain weight and gain muscle when I wanted to, and it helped me perform well in the gym, but also did not give me brain fog so that I can actually do work when I wanted to. And so let's just get straight into the video. The first thing that I wanted to disclose is that honestly, no matter what diet you start and you go on, the biggest thing that matters is consistency. It doesn't matter if you get on the healthiest diet there is on the entire planet or the worst diet there is. If you're not going to be consistent, your results won't be good because you're not giving your body enough time to experience those changes. And so if you go on a clean diet, right, or let's say you go on a carnivore diet, but then on day 4 you start eating vegetables and plants, you're deviating away from the diet, and so you don't know exactly how the diet is actually affecting you. And so the main thing you want to do is stay consistent. And so taking that in mind, we want to create a diet that is easy to stick on, right? It's not going to be too hard to stay consistent with. And that's exactly why a lot of people can't really stick on a vegan or a carnivore diet. Some people do, but most people don't because it's hard to stick to. There's not enough variety. So with that being said, the diet that I used to get all the results that I talked about in the beginning of the video is basically the whole foods diet, right? I hope you didn't expect some new rocket science type of diet. It's nothing too complicated, but that's the beautiful thing about it. It's so simple that you can mix and match different foods in order to help you get the results that you need. So let's say you were trying to lose weight with this diet, right? The beautiful thing is that you can mix and match with a lot of different foods. When I say whole foods diet, that includes like over 1,000 ingredients. You can mix and match, make so many different meals, right? The macronutrient composition is going to be very different depending on the foods that you choose. And so if let's say you were trying to lose weight, you would probably focus a lot on protein, right? You probably get maybe beef, chicken, salmon, dairy, because it just has a lot of protein. And what protein does is it keeps you satiated, right? It keeps you full for longer so that you don't necessarily feel the urge to eat as much, right? That's why people who go on carnivore, they rarely gain weight. Most of them actually lose weight off carnivore because it's hard to eat 3,000 calories in just steak or beef or chicken, whatever it is. But let's say someone was trying to gain weight, then they would probably use a lot of butter and oil, first of all, because they're easy calories. You'd also stock up on carbs, something like potatoes, sweet potatoes, because it's a lot easier to overeat on those type of foods. And so the beautiful thing about the whole foods diet is that it's simple, but you can tailor it to your own goals and preferences, right? Because you might enjoy some foods, you might not enjoy some foods. And depending on what results you want to get out of the diet, that's going to determine exactly what type of foods you're going to eat. And the reason why I believe it is the healthiest diet is because, first of all, you're ingesting a variety type of food, right? You're not on like some carnivore diet where the only thing you're eating is meat and eggs, or you're not on a vegan diet where you're not getting any animal-based products, right? You're getting the nutrition from both sides. Naturally, when you do eat whole foods, you're gonna pick nutrient-dense foods that are gonna make you feel healthier and better. And the whole reason why you don't want to be eating any non-whole foods is because usually they're ultra processed. The reason why you don't want to be eating any ultra processed foods is because ultra processed basically means that it lacks any nutrients, right? In comparison to whole foods, foods that you naturally see growing in nature or that you get from animals that live in nature, those are filled with vitamins, filled with minerals. And so based on what type of goal you're trying to reach, let's say you're trying to lose weight, then you focus more probably on eating maybe more steaks, more eggs, more chicken, right? And even within that, you can have the variety to choose between fatty meats and lean meats. And so if you're trying to lose weight, maybe you'll eat more lean meats. And so something like chicken or fish, which could be a lot more lean than beef. And even within beef, you can just buy lean ground beef. And you can always use tactics like intermittent fasting, which is considered like a diet of its own, but it's really just a tactic to help you eat less, right? But either way, the premise is that you're focusing on whole foods, because usually they're gonna make you feel the most satiated because they're packed with nutrients, and they're also a lot less palatable than, let's say, a pack of Oreos. Like a pack of Oreos is designed to be highly palatable so that you can eat the whole pack without really being really full. Whereas, let's say, a steak, if you eat a steak or two, you're pretty full after. But it doesn't mean that whole foods taste bad. It's just that a lot of us, our taste buds have changed and acclimated to the ultra processed foods that are just higher in refined sugars and chemicals and food dyes, because they don't only stimulate our taste buds, but also our vision senses as well, right? Seeing all the bright colors pop in your eyes obviously is going to look a lot more appealing than just a brown piece of steak, right? But once you do actually stick to a whole foods diet for a week, 2 weeks, a month, even longer, then your taste buds will adapt to understand that this is what real food is supposed to taste like. And so yeah, like I said, if you're trying to lose weight, you probably just eat a lot more protein, intermittent fasting, a bit less carbs so you're less bloated. And honestly, if you need any help with designing your whole foods diet plan, then just message me on Instagram. The link is in my bio, and so if you just click on my Instagram and message me there, I will help you design your own diet. And so once you do go on a whole foods diet and you go on for like 2 weeks, 4 weeks, even longer, and you find success with that, the next step you can really take, and this is something that most people won't do, but if you have the money and you want to put the extra effort in, then the thing I would recommend is basically try to really reduce the amount of toxins that you ingest in your body, right? And so even if you go on a whole foods diet or just eating natural food, just the way that, I guess you could say, capitalism, or just the way that the infrastructure of food is nowadays, is that a lot of foods are still going to have a lot of toxins depending on what the food is. And so, for example, a lot of fruits and vegetables have a lot of pesticides, right? Because it helps make the plants grow faster and not get attacked by bugs. But pesticides are not good for us, especially research has shown that pesticides are not very good for especially our gut lining, right? And so it's going to affect your digestive system. And so first of all, you can search up something called the Dirty Dozen, and it's basically the 12 fruits that usually have the most pesticides. And so just to start, at least with those fruits, if you're eating any of those fruits, make sure that you try and get them organic, right? Not just regular. And sure, this could be a bit more costly, but it's going to significantly reduce the amount of pesticides that you consume. And honestly, just a little fact, even organic produce still has like trace amount of pesticides, because that's just the way our world works. Maybe if you live in a very tropical area, you might be able to just pick your own fruits and it won't have any pesticides on it. But for most people in the world, that's just not the way it is. And a little hack that I have with getting organic fruits or vegetables as well, buy them frozen. If you buy them frozen, it's a lot cheaper than just buying them fresh. But when it's frozen, it still has the same minerals and vitamins in whatever you're trying to get out of the fruits. And so it's just a little tip that I use at least in order to make my organic shopping a bit cheaper. Another thing you want to focus on if you have the money is getting like pasture-raised eggs. You can get grass-fed beef, especially with fish as well. You want to focus on getting things that are wild caught, not farm raised, because with something like, for example, salmon, if it is farm raised, then the amount of toxins that it has is going to be a lot higher. Because what it means when it says farm raised is that they basically put a lot of fish in a very confined amount of space. And so think about it, you're going to feed the fish and keep it there. And so where are they going to poop? In the same area. And so what do some of the fish do? They eat each other's poop. So do you think it's good for salmon to just eat poop as their food? No, it's not. And where are the toxins going to go? Some of them are going to stay in the meat itself. And so when you eat that, you are ingesting some of the toxins. And with fish as well, you want to focus on consuming a lot of the smaller fish. And so the reason why you want to focus on eating smaller fish is because they're usually going to have a lower level of heavy metals. So like mercury, lead, etc. And the reason why smaller fish are better is because of a thing called bioaccumulation. And what bioaccumulation in this case means is that the further down you are in the food chain, right, the more heavy metals or the more of a substance in general you're gonna have, right? The more of the concentration. And so let's say that like the seaweed in the ocean, right, has like a 0.01% concentration of heavy metals, right? But then a smaller fish is going to eat that. And when the smaller fish eats that, it's going to eat a bunch of those seaweeds. And so let's say it goes to like 0.1% now, right? Then a medium-sized fish, let's say a salmon, is going to eat like 20 of those fishes, right? Or not fishes, fish. And so it's going to go up to like, let's say 2% accumulation, right? But then let's say a tuna fish, which is huge, is going to eat like, let's say 50 salmons, right? And so automatically it's going to jump to like 20%, 30% accumulation. And so that's why fish like tuna, because they're a lot larger, or like swordfish, they're just so big that their concentration of heavy metals is a lot higher than some fish like, let's say, sardines or salmon. And so you want to focus on making the majority of your fish from the smaller range. Honestly, when you do that, you've basically like mastered the game of diet and nutrition. All you have to do is go back to point number one of just staying consistent. And honestly, just being on this diet has changed my life, the way that I feel. Also just the difficulty of like losing weight, gaining weight, just because I feel a lot healthier. And so if you need any help with creating your own diet plan, just message me on Instagram. The link is in the bio, and I'll see you there.